Good afternoon, welcome to episode 8 of the Blue Army podcast. Here with Dale Story for BBC Radio Lincolnshire. 4-1 win, Dale.
Yeah, it was a much needed victory this afternoon, wasn't it? It stopped this little bit of a mini blip that they've been having at home. It's 3 unbeaten now. It's been a really good start to 2019.
7 points from 9 games.
Yeah, I think it's a strange one, isn't it? Because obviously Nantwich was the one that dropped points and they probably should have won that game, which is why it was frustrating. Yeah, if they'd drawn at Matlock and beat Nantwich, I don't think we'd be saying anything, in a negative way. So 7 points from 9 is a pretty good comeback, and if they carry on that way, they'll easily be in the playoffs.
Yeah, finally started to take a few of the chances that we created today. A little bit nervy early on, going through the game from sort of minute by minute. Very nervy opening minute. The normal, reliable John Stewart.
Well,
I don't know, that pitch that Woody's prepared. Ooh, another bobble.
Oh dear. It was a strange game, wasn't it? And John Stewart, there's a couple though, wasn't there? A couple of back passes he seemed to struggle with today, but he got away with it. I mean, one nearly ended up going in, didn't it? That was the first minute, wasn't it?
First minute, yeah.
It's just mad. And then I know Nathan Stainford had to concede a corner on another one. Strange game today. Trinity take the lead when they were on top.
Yeah.
And
when you're thinking, okay, kick on, that should give the players the confidence to sort of kick on.
They seemed to go the other way, didn't they? Workington impressed me, considering the second bottom, considering all the managerial, merry-go-round they're having at the moment.
What was it? Around like 15 days pre-managers?
Something like that, isn't it? The manager left, they had a temp put in, and then they got a guy from Carlisle, and then he left after 6 days, and
But, I thought they finished the half the better side. And
They did. And, John Stewart...
Seeing the Jekyll side of John Stewart. Exactly, the Jekyll and Hyde performance.
Well, we don't really need to make much of a thing about the kicking, because he's been outstanding all season, John Stewart.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the better players on the pitch. The spine of Trinity's team this season has been outstanding, and John Stewart obviously is part of that. A couple of good saves at the end of the first half. One for that free kick, which I'm guessing he saw quite late, because you often do from Tinian. Yeah. And I thought Trinity were very lucky to go in at half-time leading.
Yeah, but we got the crucial second goal. First goal in blue for Ben Gordon.
Yeah, we up in the stand couldn't believe he was there. He came as a bit of a surprise. I think he had to have a double look to make sure it was Ben Gordon, but it was actually a very good finish with his right foot for a left back. But it just shows you make them runs, you get in them positions, and you might get there. Because it was a little bit, lucky the way the ball came to him. Because Damien Reeves, I'm not sure what he was doing at the back post. I think he probably was trying to nod it down.
Yeah, I think he was trying to nod it back where it came from, but got it a little bit wrong. But since Ben Gordon's been back in the team, we've seen a massive improvement. He was steady. Lots of people said he hasn't really done a lot wrong. Couldn't really understand why Brandon Hort had come in. But it almost looks an inspired decision from Lee and John to bring in that extra bit of competition that has given him the time out, reassess what he does. He won the penalty last week in the Nantwich game, which we didn't convert. And today he's popped up with a goal and had another very good game. You often see cases of that, don't you? A player plays in a position where there's no competition and no fault of their own. They get complacent and just, to drop in them, replacing them just for a month, brings them back better. I'll always remember putting my Lincoln hat on here. Paul Farman at Lincoln, they sent him out to Boston. It was one of the best things they did. When he came back, he was outstanding. Ben Gordon today played really well. We spoke to him, he said how frustrated he was at being dropped and that. And that's good. That's what you want to hear. You want players to be annoyed at being dropped, but also have that determination once they get back in the team to think, well, hang on a minute, I want to stay in the team. This is what I can do. And I agree with you completely. He's been excellent since he's come back. So, obviously, time out, doing well. Another player that's been out in the cold a lot recently is Damien Reeves. He started up front today alongside Ashley Worsfold, and Ashley Worsfold's got 2 goals. Is that coincidence? I think I mentioned it to Lee Sinnott, and I don't think he necessarily agreed, but I think the change of formation was key today. I've been saying for a few weeks that particularly at home, 4-3-3 doesn't work. I don't think it does. Away from home it works brilliantly. There's only Whitby that they've really struggled with that formation. Whereas otherwise their away form's been excellent since changing it. Today he went back to 4-4-2. And Damien Reeves, I think you could tell he's not played for a long time. He set up Ben Gordon's goal.
and he was just a nuisance. And it was also harder work for the Workington defence having 2 strikers up there instead of the one. And as for Ash, I mean, you give him half a chance and he'll score, and that's exactly what he proved today. 2 clinical finishes, 15 for the season now.
Yeah.
You know, what a player he is for Gainsborough Trinity
at this level. But again, I think the benefit of playing alongside Damien Reeves, he's still put in a shift. He still ran himself ragged for 65 minutes or so. But he's been able to do it in good areas. Rather than running the channels, trying to hold the play up, that side of things, he has actually been up there and he's had the support up there. And he's not took half the battering that he would have taken if he was up there on his own. And I think that's almost put him in the sort of better frame of mind to take the chances when they've come his way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. He's not the kind of striker that can play up there on his own, is he? Really, like you say, he has struggled because he has had to make. Because if he's making a run down the channels, like you say, then who's in the middle? You know, nobody. So, yeah, I think it definitely benefits Ash to have somebody alongside him.
Yeah, and you've got the likes of Shane Clark and Simon Russell who are trying to make it back down, who are trying to get in the box late, but they're not up there soon enough, quick enough all the time. So, yes,
especially if you're wanting to counter attack.
Yeah, which I felt we did really well. We tried really hard to pick off Workington today, but you know, they tried coming at us. Fair play to them. They didn't settle down and say we're just going to shut up shop. They still tried to cause Trinity problems. They still tried to break, but that was where it was a little bit nice to see Trinity with a composure to sort of knock the ball around and try and create and hurt the opposition. Yeah,
particularly after the second goal. I felt once the second goal went in, you saw more of that fluent play from Gainsborough that we've kind of got used to here this season. Their counter-attack football was excellent. They could have, you know, if Elliot Wilson had stayed on side or the pass had gone here or that, you know, they could have scored more. Yeah. Workington, I was really impressed with them today, considering where they are on the table and their struggles on the road. I actually thought they played quite well. Had a lot of the ball, and it was one of them, just what I said about Gainsborough. If they got their final pass right, I think they'd have been in trouble. I think they thoroughly deserved their consolation as well. But no, it's a good win for Gainsborough. It's the start of a very, very important spell, this, I think. Not only does it feel like we're now in the middle of another run, but the next 2 games, you know, Micklehove and Stafford, you know, that should be 6 points.
Well, I spoke to a few people who sort of indicated that this is kind of a little run, but we should be picking up maximum points from.
I agree.
We've got today, obviously, Stafford, Micklehove on the horizon. Then we've got big games against Warrington. And I think Warrington have slipped up today. Yeah.
Yeah, I think another big thing about the result is we've not gained anything on the playoffs, but a defeat or drop points, and the gap would have been bigger. The gap's still 4 points, which, you know, is catchable. But if it, say, Workington had won, say, it'd have been 7, and suddenly you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, because Gainsborough don't have particularly many games in hand anymore.
No, but we are on the coattails, and we've still got Farsley to play, Warrington home and away. Opportunities there to pick up points on the teams around us.
Oh, definitely, but there's a long way to go, isn't there? And teams are going to drop points against each other on a regular basis. I mean, Farsley today have drawn with Grantham. Grantham seems to be picking up points.
Playoff killers.
Yeah, they seem to be doing well.
3-2 on Boxing Day.
Beat Basford, didn't they? Yeah. It just shows what a strange game football is. I think it'll be exciting. I mean, the game at Farsley earlier in the season, I thought Farsley were good. Warrington are so good at the back, aren't they? It's going to be tough to get anything against them. I mean, South Shields, last game of the season. I mean, what a game that could be.
Exactly. So they're all still very much up there. Any team can beat any team. And we've just got to be at our best every given day. And then worry about other teams after that.
When Gainsborough play their best, and they haven't done for quite a while, particularly at home, I think they can beat anyone. I think all the team, I mean, considering last Saturday was the so-called best team in the league because they were top.
Yeah.
You know, Gainsborough should have won the game. They can beat anyone when they play well. When they've got players like Ash on fire, Alex Byrne playing well, you know, they'll beat anyone on the day. That's why they were top earlier in the season. The problem is they're not having enough of them days.
Yeah. I don't know if it's down to the size of the squad, but it is a close-knit squad and that has its benefits. I can see that. But sometimes you think, do we just need to freshen things up a little bit? But like we've seen with Ben Gordon, he's come in, took his chance when he's gone back into the team. Maybe if he was 2 or 3 down the pecking order, that might not have happened. We might not have seen that. maybe if we're going out, it does unsettle the apple cart a little bit.
So it's the joy of management is finding that balance. I mean, where do you think there's anywhere in particular they should look to freshen up? Any position?
Well, you could argue that in the centre of midfield, young Middleton's been out injured today, but Liam King's now...
Liam King, hopefully fully fit soon, because I think he's been a massive loss to me. Until he got injured, was one of the players of the season. Yeah. I mentioned earlier about that spine. You've got Stewart, you've got Stainford, you've got King, you've got Worsfold. That spine of the team has been outstanding when it's all played. So hopefully Kingy will, get back soon, and I'm sure he'll get straight back in the team when he's fully fit, because he's a crucial player to
well,
this
that goes
squad.
back to the start of the season, doesn't it? When it was King and another.
Well, he rotated Russell and Clark, didn't he? And both of them in his absence have done all right, to be fair. I think Simon Russell's particularly, I think he's
Simon
getting
Russell's
better.
shown what he's capable of.
Yeah, he has, and he's started adding goals to his game.
Yeah, he was out of favour a little bit at the start of the season, but he's shown his professionalism. He's worked really hard. He trains as he plays as he trains, and it's just infectious. There's a couple of knocks he got today, and you thought, oh, it's about taking the wind out of his sail, but then straight up, closing down, charging down, harassing, harrying. He keeps the ball really well, and he really keeps Trinity ticking over. Because
he was one of your choices for man of the match, wasn't he?
He was,
played
yeah.
Well. I think it's important for a squad like Trinity to have players like Simon Russell in them. He's got the experience. He's a little bit older. Being rotated won't affect him, or not being in the squad won't. Whereas you could get a younger lad,
and the head goes down.
Exactly. Whereas he'd understand it, and I'm sure he helps with the younger players in the squad as well. I think there's 3 or 4 Trinity players that have got that experience, and I think that's important. I think the squad, it's a nice mix of youth and experience, isn't it? And
yeah, it's possibly a little on the older side, which is possibly a concern if we were to get promoted next year. These players are all a year older. Some of the younger ones, yes, that's okay. I'll worry about some of the older ones. But at the same time, if you're taking it each game as it comes and how they're doing now, Neil Austin, 35 years of age, and he's still turning in experienced, composed performances. How long can he keep on doing that for? Anyone's guess.
I think if they went up, well, whatever happens, I think next season there'll be a squad change anyway. There is most summers.
That's the thing we're looking at, isn't it? At the moment, it's stability.
And I think certain players, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but certain players, yes, they're very good at this level. Would they be any good at a level up? I'm not sure. And then you've got the same, a couple of the more, experienced players. Are they going to want to play at this level again if Gainsborough don't go up? So I think the summer, whatever happens, will be quite exciting. People like Austin, I think, because again, he was out of the team, wasn't he? I know he was injured, and he's come back and he's been pretty solid since he's come in as well.
He has been Mr. Dependable. While he was out of the team, it was at one point 5 games he hadn't played, but we hadn't managed to pick up a point. So
I didn't know that.
No, so we changed that against Matlock on New Year's Day, obviously, and that was a nice turn up for the Bucks, and then he was fit, ready for the Nantwich game. But we talk about the experience within the squad. They're doing a really good job.
And then you look at the other side of it, and how good has Johan Evans been since coming back in?
Yeah. Considering he hadn't played for 2-3 months prior to coming in on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Hit the ground running, conceded 1 goal in those 3 games since he's been back in the side, and he's not missed anything.
Well, always been a fan of his. The 2 or 3 years he's been here, I think he's a good player. I think he's a little bit quicker than Joe Maguire. He's also had a pretty solid season, to be fair. It's a very difficult one, because I think Nathan Stainfield's been by far the best defender.
The immovable object.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah.
So it's, again, picking... I think at one point, again, he was rotating them two, wasn't he? But I think Johan's come in, and again, like we said about Ben Gordon, he's not sitting sulked. He's just waited and taken that opportunity. And he's done really well.
Of course, you look at Lee Sinnott's experience, Premier League experience, Football League experience. He's got that experience, and a centre-half like Johan is only going to learn from that sort of management.
Yeah, it must be a bit of a dream for Johan to have somebody like Lee Sinnott in charge, because, like you say, he'll teach him lots of tricks of the trade, and hopefully he'll become better for it. I mean, I can. It's the first time. Oh no, I was there last week. Since he's come back in, you can tell he just seems a little bit stronger, a little bit. Seems to read the game a little bit better, and I think going alongside Stainfield works well as well.
Yeah. So again, another plus point to the spine of a team that's looking really good. And saying strength in depth, a squad of 17, but that's strength in depth.
Well, yeah, because if one of them gets injured, you've got Joe Maguire to come in, so that's pretty good. They've got, I think Pollard played in goal on New Year's Day, and he played well.
Yeah, very assured.
So they've got, covering goal. I mean, they've done well for keepers this year. Dewhurst, I thought, was outstanding.
He's doing very well for Guiseley at the moment.
Is that where he's gone?
Yeah. I think I don't know how they got on today, but before today, it was 3 games, 3 clean sheets and 3 wins, I think.
So I'm going to Guiseley in a couple of weeks. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. That'll be fun. I thought he was outstanding here. Thought he was really good.
He was another good young player, like Brandon Horton, that we said about previously. 17, 18 years of age, just
very good, very good,
unbelievable talent. But testament to the links that we've got here at Gainsborough Trinity, that we can get players and be trusted with players of that quality.
Yeah, I've often asked management here how important it is to have the connection with teams like Sheffield United, like Derby with Ravas last season, and it's crucial. And people like players like Dewhurst and Brandon Horton from Doncaster. He was brilliant. He was 17. He was outstanding. But yeah, the links are important, particularly for lower league clubs to have that link. And it also benefits the big clubs, doesn't it? Able to get their players this little bit of experience. And you learn more in the tougher, more physical non-leagues than you would playing under 21 or whatever it is, football or reserves, wouldn't you?
Well, I was watching the Liverpool Wolves game the other night in the FA Cup, and somebody made the comment to me, look at the squad numbers.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was a 62 playing, and it's unbelievable. When are they going to get a game? So the only place they're going to get a game is either academy football, which is your tippy-tappy type, or do you get sent out on loan to non-league clubs where you can toughen up, play the man's game, and
Sorry about the coffee, guys.
Keep going. You're nearly done.
Oh dear. Managed to get the whole game without coughing, and then I start doing this with you, and it's just all come back. It's crazy. What was the question again? What were we talking about?
About the opportunities for academy players.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago I watched Chelsea under 21s play Lincoln, and we were like, wow, look at those squad numbers. And I think one of them played for Chelsea in the FA Cup against Forest at the weekend. But the rest, they were good players. They were good footballers, but they're not going to... And one thing I noticed just about that under 21 side, it's the only one I've watched, is that they didn't like the physical side. It's the lower leagues, it's the non-leagues that you learn that physical side. Because it's such a physical game at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, where you do toughen up. Like Ben Gordon came through the Chelsea youth team, the academy team, the set-up and everything. And he got a lot of game time out on loan, places like Colchester and Yeovil. He went north of the border and played for Kilmarnock. Experiences like that, and that's all helped to toughen him up. And now, obviously, he finds himself in non-league football. So I do think there's the pathway and the opportunity for us to get players from academy sides that can't quite make the first team, that will really have a good impact.
Leeson has always said, hasn't he, that he only wants play if it's the right player, isn't it? So I think he's quite happy. I don't know, but I get the impression he's quite happy with the squad, though, at the moment. If everybody's fit, we talk about this strength in depth, but he's there, isn't he, really? You look at, we've got Ross Hanna that's not fit at the moment.
Yeah.
Liam King's just coming back. Harry Middleton's not fit, because he's not on loan, is he? We've actually signed him. So the depth is there, and I think when everybody's fit, he has got a few selection headaches, which is what you want as a manager. So maybe they don't need to sign anybody. I'd personally like to see Ross Hanna play up front with Ash again when he's fit. I think that's when games were at their best earlier in the season. Johnny Margits, I mean, he's scored 2 lately, hasn't he? So
he has.
Confidence hopefully will grow and he'll get a few more.
But obviously he's only here till the end of January. Maybe that will be extended after that.
I think it depends a lot. I think it depends a lot on whether Gainsborough want to keep him till the end of the season. I think that'll be the key. I don't think he'll get back in Boston's
all parties,
team.
Isn't it, really?
Yeah, but I can't imagine Boston wanting him back. Boston have, as we know, we were saying anyway, was it 43 players they've had this season? So it's
even at our highest turnover of players, I don't think we hit 43, and absolutely we're only in January, but we won't. It's the Blue Army podcast though, so we won't talk about.
Oh, I talk about Boston. Yeah, Boston. No. But yeah, so no. What I was saying is, I don't think Boston are going to want him back. So it's whether whether games want to keep him or not. And I think they should. I think he's useful to have on the bench, Johnny Margits. I think he came
I
off.
think he's another of those players, both that will want to be playing. Every week.
This is the problem, isn't it? Because you'd presume that Ash would play every week. I mean, again, earlier in the season, he was rotating Ash, Ross Hannah, and Reeves, wasn't he? He was rotating the three. But I think now, I think Ash has got to play, hasn't he? 15 goals already this season. He's going to hit 20, isn't he? Without a doubt.
Touch wood.
So, who plays alongside him? That's the big question. And if there's only two to choose from, it's a little bit easier than choosing from three, isn't it? But
exactly. But also, you go down the route of, do we go back to 4-3-3 away from home? Maybe not for Mikolova, maybe not for
who's the away game after Mikolova? Is
Warrington. Maybe that is one that you do.
Was that in February?
I think so, the first week of February.
No, I think that's Warrington. Oh, Warrington at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Warrington away is in March, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Months are all rolling.
No, I was just wondering who the next away... I think they should play 4-4-2 every home game. I can't remember who the next away game is after Mikolova. Is it Ferriby? Ferriby's coming up, isn't it?
It's got to be. But there's not many months left of the season.
No. I think away from home, I think it depends on who the opposition are.
Yeah. But that could mean that we do go back to a 4-3-3, which is Ash and...
Wow.
Two wide.
It's been Alex Byrne and Alex Simmons, hasn't it? And have the three in midfield.
Obviously, Simo's only missed for one game this season, which was the game against Nantwich. He's been involved in every other game apart from that one, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So he has been involved, but he's made the most appearances this season, closely followed by Nathan Stainfield. He missed for one game suspended at the start of the season after his red card against Nantwich on the opening day. But those two have been the pillars of a Trinity team.
How many's Ash missed? He's been injured a couple of times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's missed a couple, hasn't he? He's had a couple of knocks that he's not wanted to be risked, but yeah, that's for consistency and that's a small squad. But you know, when we've needed to improve it, we've been able to go into the loan market. So let's see what the rest of the season.
I think it's going to be an exciting end to the season. Lots of games, lots of points to be won. And hopefully we're in those... I don't think they can win the league now. I think that's a little bit too far away. But hopefully in the playoff mix and then anything can happen, can't it?
Yeah, one-off games. Winner takes all.
Which is 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, by the way. A bit of a debate we were having in the stands today.
Yeah.
Whether it's 6 and 7, but that's just a National League thing, isn't it?
A very complicated National League thing.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But it's even more ridiculous for the outcomes of a playoff lottery. It's even more of a lottery this year, with an extra game to be played with the equivalent at our level. But we're not going to do that now. We've got to do our research first. But as far as I know, we've got the playoffs, semi-final, final, and then a playoff against the Central League playoff winners. Because there's only 3 out of 4 playoff places up for grabs or something. I don't know. But we'll do that another time.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, so...
So that's for another day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, bye.
Enjoy your weekend.